Joining me now is a public affairs analyst, Adekunle Adedeji. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. Now, when you look at the discussion between both presidents, how robust or otherwise were the discussions, and was our president firm enough for you?
Thank you once again. I think the move to visit South Africa now, it's one that is welcomed by Nigerians. Long before now, we would have thought that the president would have taken this trip after the incident that happened.
But the trip had already been planned before now.
Before now. So the robustness of the conversation or discussion around the table, we can only wait to see how effective that will be over the coming months or years. But in terms of agenda, I think that it captures the essence of what Nigeria and Nigerians should be discussing at this point in time, where the safety of its people, business conversation, bilateral agreements that are signed or that has just been put into place should be respected by both parties. There were conversations around Nigerians that are outside the country in South Africa. About 25% of international immigrants who are there essentially are in a not structured environment, if I can use that word. So they do menial jobs like drivers, like jobs that are not befitting, so to say. Whereas when you check what happens in our own country, Nigeria has been very accommodating to countries
the president also addressed that, having a convenient environment for businesses, Nigerian businesses, to grow
over there.
So
those are the kind of things that we'll love to see happen in the next, a couple of years or months to come, and not just paper being signed around. Let's see the actualization of this conversation come to fruitful.
But still touching on businesses, before now there were businesses that had tried to penetrate the markets in South Africa, but with this discussion now, do you envisage or are you confident there might be changes with regards to that?
We can only just hope that that would happen, because the body language of the government can say we will do this, but you need the people, the corporation, the mindset of people to be willing to do, to accommodate this to happen. I'm just hopeful that for once this will happen.
Hopeful. We can only keep hope alive with regards to this. Thank you so much for your time on The Breakfast Show.
Thank you.
Joining me now is a public affairs analyst, Adekunle Adedeji. It's nice to have you join me right now.
Thank you.
I know you've been following the developments when it comes to the president's trip to South Africa. Now, from the statements they've made so far, what from the signs and some of the engagements and agreements they've had, which of them catches your attention the most that you think can really bring back or restore that friendship, more friendship?
So I think the first thing that was clearly stated was the intention or the more seriousness from the part of government of South Africa to secure the lives of people who are there. I mean, without lives, businesses or any other conversation that you want to have will not even come into place in first instance. I think that Nigerians needs to be seen as brothers. I think that the level of friendship and opportunity that we have created for South Africans, businesses, and in extension South Africans in Nigeria, same friendship should be extended to Nigerians and Nigerian businesses over there. So issue of security is very important. I think the issue of diplomacy also needs to come in. So for example, I know there are countries where if you have stayed there for a period of time, even without papers, legally, some of those countries will invite you to say, look, come over, okay? After 3, 4, 5 years, let's get to register you properly and integrate you into the system. I think that has to be in place. I also think the issue of security, communication between, because it is being perceived Nigerians who are out there are criminals, are this, are that. If 10% or 5% of a certain number of people into illegal businesses, and it's everywhere in the world. It's not just unique to South Africans or Nigerians, as it were. So for me, I think the framework to work should be one thing that we'll be discussing, but more importantly is the security of lives and property. Let people feel that they are part of a community that welcomes them, and every other thing can begin to take in place. So the one that is of interest to me, and I think Nigerians are looking forward, is the attitude of South Africans, both as an individual and as a business towards Nigerians.
Now, that is one aspect I also want to dwell on, because the Nigerian community in South Africa are confident,
yes,
stemming out of this discussion that now they can confidently stay. But then the mindset of most South Africans is what has to be addressed. What role or how can the government there begin to address these issues and also show that it is willing to address this issue? Because brotherly love, it's not about statements, it's about actions.
Yes, so first is we need to see increase in opportunities that are given to and not just Nigerians, international dwellers in these countries. I know for a fact that the economy of South Africa is not what it used to be, and we need to be very sincere. They are also struggling. So the jobs that are available, the guys are saying, so you don't give our jobs out to foreigners. I think the place to start from, for me, will be that we see some kind of collaboration between the government of Nigeria and South Africa. So, for example, if we have Nigerians who are over there, who are doing petty businesses, can they also begin to have access to loans, for example, to settle down? Can you begin to guarantee some of those people? So if I have a business ideas and I go to a bank in South Africa, I've only lived there for 3 or 4 years. But if I have a bank in Nigeria who also have a place in South Africa and can say, this business idea looks good, we are willing to bankroll it, or we're willing to support this idea. It gives some level of confidence to the economic atmosphere over there, and people are able to, give you more chance to be able to display what you're able to do.
All right. Adekunle Akindeji, thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure.
Thank you.